Okay, so it's time again for another Malifaux M4E update from this channel. I've played a couple of games of Malifaux M4E, and I've had a couple of questions that I wanted to answer over the course of these two games. The first question was a stress test. Really, I wanted to know how oppressive can playstyles be in M4E. Now, one of the complaints I had with M3E was that there were certain playstyles, namely Pandora and Zoraida, that were very oppressive, that took away so much player agency from the player that is against those two crews. For example, like when Pandora activates, depending on the position of models, like 3 or 4 things happen with some auto damage, some movement, the removal of triggers, and some stun. And that was just very oppressive to deal with if the enemy was capable of keeping, specific distances. So I played against a friend of mine who is an experienced Pandora player, but not experienced in M4E, and literally issued him the challenge. Hey, try to make my life difficult for me. I want to see how oppressive can this playstyle be. So the first game we played was against Pandy 1. And I ran the Colette crew because that night I think I just didn't have the bandwidth to learn anything new. And in my friend's defense, he was still learning the crew, so the game did take quite a while. Towards the end of the game, he started to realize, the cool little jank that he can pull with paranoia tokens and moving people around, doing some damage and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, it did not feel nearly as oppressive as Pandora used to be. So that was really the outcome of that first game. And then the second game, he played Pandora 2 and I played Rasputina 2. And that game also, we started to learn a little bit more about how Pandy 2 does a bunch of damage to you using hazardous terrain, moving your models in and around and through and causing you to take damage for taking actions and take willpower checks to perform specific actions. And I thought maybe that was about as oppressive as Pandora can get as far as like trying to take your agency away. And I'm happy to say I didn't feel like that game either really felt terribly oppressive. So that takes us to the second game of our doubleheader. And this question for this game was, how does Rasputina 2 play? Rasputina 2 was the last of my current masters that I have yet to try in M4E. And having a look at her card, I felt like, hey, that signature move for the crew to move opposing models around is quite strong, especially if you pair it with the stagger abilities. And I wanted to see that against my friend's Pandora crew. He ended up playing Pandora 2 in this instance, and frankly, that was a tough matchup for him. This particular set of the scenario we were in, I think was kind of against his favor. So we ended up playing Recover Evidence on a flank deployment, and this worked out really great for Rasputina 2. The ability to have Ice Mirror on just about everything is crazy good, especially if you have your totem and a bunch of your models that can just throw ice pillars out there so that you can really get working on the opponent crew as quickly as possible. So with my opponent's list, Pandora 2 can actually do a lot with the paranoia tokens. It does take away some of your agency, right? You're not able to cheat in certain duels. You're not able to declare triggers in opposed duels. They can take away, at the end of the turn, remove that paranoia token to move you, and then place scheme markers down. And they can also do things with those paranoia tokens during the turn. And it's very easy, at least mechanically, to hand out a paranoia token, but it does cost a soul stone. But with Rasputina 2, it can be just as oppressive. Handing out the staggers, there are some attacks that the totem can do, as well as Snowstorm that specifically target your speed, so that stagger acts as like a debuff and you're able to hand out a bunch of damage, attacking models' speed in this case. So I feel like Rasputina 2 is actually quite strong. My opponent did something really smart though and kept Rasputina 2 very far away in the corner of the table, which basically took the summoning game away from me. But again, with the silent ones out there, the snowstorm, etc., was able to really get at the opponent's crew in terms of splashing damage on with staggers, and then really just being able to finish them off. With Rasputina being all the way in the corner of the table, she could still put in work from there. She's maybe one of the only masters in the game that can handle being pushed that far into a corner. I think if it was one of my other masters, I would have been in for a very rough day. So for me personally, I do like Rasputina 2. I feel like she can be very competitive. Rasputina 1 just seems a little more fun to me. I just wish that hunger tokens were a little easier to come by. But I feel like Rasputina 2 is just a perfect pick sometimes. And Rasputina in general, it tends to be a very good pick into Neverborn. So yeah, that is where I'm at with M4E. I can say after having tested all of my keywords, I'm very happy with all of the keywords I'm running. I feel like the game is in actually a pretty good spot. It's very fun. It's going to take a little time for me and the regulars around here to get these games down in time, because the last Pandora games were quite long. But I do expect that to go a lot smoother as things move on here. I would say for me personally, my favorite keywords are Karis 1 and Colette 1. Really enjoy those two above most of these others. However, and then maybe Karis 2 is probably my least favorite of the keywords that I run. But I don't feel like she's bad, and I don't feel like it's boring to play. I just think she's personally my least favorite. Overall, yeah, really like M4E. I think it's in a good spot. I definitely want to play it more. And yeah, just looking forward to, now that I've tested everything, to be more competent in my deployment of those specific keywords. So yeah, there you have it with M4E. Let me know how you are feeling about the game and whether or not you want to continue on with it, or if there are keywords that you want to explore. I'm still got to figure out how to do a proper battle report with Malifaux. That's a very difficult task. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.